Hello, you're listening to episode 285 of the Small and Supercharged podcast with Ria Freeman.
So on today's Small and Supercharged podcast, we are joined by Lucy Claire Dunbar, who you may know as Lucy Claire Illustration in all the places really. I've seen lots of your drawings shared around. I follow you. It's lovely to have you here today, Lucy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I'm really excited to talk to you about everything. So can you tell us a bit about how you got started?
Gosh, um, it's so funny when people even ask me that because I wouldn't even say there was a moment that it started. I was kind of born into this path that I'm on now, but my dad's a very successful animator. So from the get-go, we were drawing all the time. If we went out for dinner, I don't know if it's normal in other families actually. I think it is. But if we went out for dinner, we'd like all have a sketchbook and we'd be drawing between like the courses arriving and things like that.
I feel like
And
I'm going to have to break something to you now.
yeah.
That that I've never seen that done before. I mean, I love it, and it would be much better than people just sitting in silence, glaring at each other, or
Yeah, we were
having a heated
always
debate.
drawing. So like so there's five of us. So quite a few of us to keep entertained too. So mum would bring all the pencils and sketchbooks and things and we'd all draw. It's weird, but it was like that was normal to me. So I kind of thought everyone did it.
I love it. I mean, I think it should
Yeah.
be. It is, to be fair. I mean, people do get bored between courses. I've got two young children, and like if they
Yeah.
don't have something between courses, they just seem to get into a fight with each other.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's a good idea.
yeah, or like one of us would be running away or it was just pinned us down really. So we were always drawing, always being creative, but not we were we were never like pushed into doing it. It was just we all loved doing it, which I think is quite yeah, sometimes I think people think that I was like guided into drawing. It was never really like that. It was just if you like doing it, go ahead and do it. And then through school, obviously had art classes and things, but I wasn't very good. I think if you went back to my like GCSE art teacher, she wouldn't be like, yeah, Lucy was gonna go and be an illustrator. That never would. I don't think it wasn't until sixth form I had an art teacher called Mrs. Holden, who still is, she's the reason I'm here, to be honest.
Oh
She
wow.
believed in me when I didn't even think I didn't believe it myself yet. So I owe everything to Mrs. Holden, and she just like nurtured my art rather than the traditional. In school, there's like the oil painting, fine art kind of. That's what they really push you to do, and that was never me. I was more about the story rather than the art, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, she made me kind of fall in love with art, to be honest, and made me want to do it as a career. So then went on to do an art foundation, which was an interesting time. So I nearly actually gave up. I nearly went to secretarial college. I think that's what it was called.
Oh wow.
Um, yes, because I just had a very tricky. So I was very unwell at the time, so that was adding to it. But I had a tutor who basically told me I'd never be an illustrator. So I just was
Wow.
came up with a backup plan. So and I would go home to my mum. I would go home crying. I remember sobbing to my mum, being like, I can't do this. So we paid the deposit for the secretarial course. I was like, I think we said something like we'll give it 2 weeks. And if I'm not happier in those 2 weeks, you'll go, which is so weird. Like that would have been, I don't know where my life would have been now if I had gone and done that course. But
It's a true sliding doors moment, isn't it? You know,
yeah.
oh gosh, I always think that film was quite recent. It was not recent, but whether she got on the train or not, it's whether you went
Yeah.
down that different route or not.
Yeah. And just such an entirely, and basically the reason I thought I wanted to do it was because I was like, I want to run as far from creativity and having to, because with art, you kind of pour your soul into it. So I think I was like, I want to go the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So I don't have to think about being creative. I don't have to feel like I'm letting someone, because again, when he said you'll never be an illustrator, I think there was a part of me that thought I'm not I didn't get what I haven't got my dad's gift, or if that makes sense. Like I didn't inherit that gene, and everyone else in my family is very creative. So I was like, okay, I'm not destined for that. That's fine. I came up with another plan. But then in that 2 weeks, something obviously changed and I continued. I think actually what happened in the 2 weeks was I found graphics, which is a
Okay.
bit less sketchy, but still creative. So I was like, oh, okay, right, we can do this instead. Um, and then I guess from there it's kind of history. I then went on to do fashion graphics at uni and was very lucky again with tutors who, in my first week, I had a tutor. Oh, gosh, I actually can't really remember her name. She was just only there for a term. I think she was called Rachel, and she told me I had something special, which again just meant the world and more to me because I felt I'd never felt I had anything to give to the world.
Oh,
So yeah,
wow.
she believed in me, and then the rest is kind of history. I just kept going because I love it. I love it so much. I can't even, yeah, it is just a part of me. As cheesy as it sounds, I like live and breathe it. So
It's interesting and horrifying in equal measure that because somebody that you encountered just sort of
yeah,
decided to say, actually, you're rubbish at this. It could have
yeah,
completely killed that dream, extinguished that creative spark, because you're obviously very creative.
yeah. Well, it's not, and it makes me sad actually. I receive a lot of messages from people saying, how do you get into it? Like, or like maybe they've been told that they aren't very good. And I just think it's so sad because anyone can create. If you're passionate about something, I truly believe you can make a career out of it. And like you can, if you put your mind to something, you can do anything. But equally, the influence of someone else's opinion can just obliterate you
Yeah.
in a moment. Um, and yeah, I can't even believe I don't even think I can put into words how close I was to giving up and thinking, okay, this isn't for me. And to think it was because of one person
Yeah.
who didn't, I don't think they really, it sounds maybe a bit, maybe if he heard this, he'd feel really bad. But like, I really just think he didn't vibe with me. So,
But also, so he should feel bad, as in,
yeah.
who who are people to kill those dreams in others? Because actually,
Yeah.
creativity is so broad. Obviously, what you do is one form of creativity, but there are so many different outlets for it.
Yeah. No, exactly. And everyone has, particularly at school, and I think things people are starting to realize that school isn't the system is flawed basically
Yeah.
because we're all so different in the way that we show our intelligence and creativity, and humans don't fit into a box, and school definitely, the education system definitely just puts you in a box.
Tries really hard to get you in that
Yeah.
box.
Even at uni, I remember a lot of I was lucky that I'm okay with English and writing. I'm not the best, but I can get through. And I remember my friends just being absolutely kind of thwarted in the creative process because you have to have a written narrative alongside your creative work.
Right. Okay.
And through that, it would like stop them from being able to do what they were actually good at, which is being creative. So yeah, I don't really know where I was going with that, but
No, I think you're right. You know, we do get pushed into these boxes, and you're either
yeah,
like A or B, X or Y, good,
yeah,
bad, and actually, there's just the whole different shades of stuff in the middle. And because somebody can't write down what they sort of feel or even see inside, doesn't mean they're not
yeah,
good at the thing that they're doing.
yeah, yeah. Gosh, I'm going on a bit of a tangent now, but particularly in my family too, we were definitely brought up to believe we weren't clever or we weren't because we weren't intellectual, I don't know.
Sort of maths and science, those
Yeah,
kind of,
yeah. So we definitely, and I think I was very self-conscious when I was younger, and I've only realized now in becoming so much more confident. Like I could talk about art to a room full of people and I'd be so comfortable doing that because I'm confident in what I'm talking about. But put
Mm.
me in a tiny classroom having to talk about, I don't know, something sciencey, and I would just be shut down with terror and not wanting to give my opinion just in case I was wrong. So
But
yeah.
that's when you're operating in your zone of genius versus when you're really, really not. We're not all meant to be
Yeah.
amazing at everything. Otherwise, that would be really
Yeah.
dull.
Yeah, and this is like, or even that I feel I didn't realize when I was younger. Like even starting a business, a lot of people are too scared to start because they're not good at maths. They're like, I won't be able to do the accounting, or I won't be able to. I'm not organized as a person, so people feel, oh, I couldn't have a business because I'm not organized enough. But if you get the right system in place and you get the right people in your corner, it just means your creativity can fully come out and that's what you're good at, and it's okay that you're not good at the business
Completely.
side. Like I was so embarrassed for so long because I'm not good at the business side of things. I'll put my hands up. But I've now got people who can go through the contracts with me and break it down because the words people use, I swear, in accounting, I'm pretty sure it's another language. I don't know.
No, it is. It is. Legal's another language. And it's
Yes.
stuff that if you're in those circles, you understand.
Yeah.
But if you're not in those circles, you need to go to Google or speak to somebody who it's their job
Yeah.
to be able to
And
translate
it
this stuff.
is so okay to ask for help. That is the
Hmm.
biggest, probably the biggest thing I would say to someone if they're starting a business, like ask for help. There's never a stupid question. It
No.
just means you've not come across it before. I ask, yeah, my the team, my team will know that I ask probably the dimmest questions ever sometimes, but it's because my brain just doesn't compute
No, and it doesn't
that
need
way.
to. That's why you have a team to support
No.
you in their specific areas.
Yeah, yeah,
There's always a thing about if you're hiring people, you should always hire people that aren't you. As in, you're good at your stuff. Hire
yeah,
people that are good at the stuff you're not.
yeah.
Because that you're going to have a lot less conflict and you're hiring a more well-rounded team.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just so growing up is just funny because you just realize all these lies we've been told all this time.
Right, all the myths. So,
Yeah.
so how did you start with your business? How did you go from knowing you had this real
Um,
passion for, creativity and illustrating into a business?
so yeah, my story's quite wild, I guess, when I tell it out loud. But so during uni, oh, actually, God, I've got to go way back. But basically, I've got type 1 diabetes, and
Okay.
I was diagnosed at 2.5, so I've had it all my life. But when I hit 16, it all just kind of disaster,
Right.
basically. There was a lot of stuff going on personally with my family and a lot of things happening that I basically gave up on looking after myself.
Right.
And through that, it went on maybe for like 3 or 4 years. I'm very lucky to be alive.
Gosh.
And because of that, I actually became clinically blind because of complications with the diabetes. So
Gosh.
when I was finishing my degree, I couldn't actually read anymore. My friends would sign my, like, uni letters where you have to sign them to like hand in your work and things.
Oh my
They would
gosh.
have to literally point and like put my hand to where I had to sign. It sounds crazy saying it out loud because we all just went, it was kind of a joke that Lucy was blind. We would just be like, ah, you're blind, Lucy. But it turned out I couldn't cross the road by myself really because I couldn't really see the cars coming.
But
Um,
before this happened, you could.
yes.
Gosh.
Yeah. So I always had 20/20 vision. Like my vision was great, but diabetes you can't mess with, and it's something I've learned the hard way. So yeah, when I graduated, I couldn't see. So Lord knows how I finished that degree. I don't know. Like I
That's
look back
impressive.
at
I
the
mean,
work.
crikey.
I feel like I need to show everyone actually the work that I did, because I don't know really how that happened, but where there's a will, there's a way. Um, Graduated from that, and then luckily I realized I couldn't mess around anymore. So I then had the surgeries I needed to be able to see again. But during that time, again, after uni, I'm really sorry if this is all over the place,
No,
but
it's really
hopefully you can
interesting.
piece it together. But after uni, I had a complete, and people talk about it a lot, but I basically had like a midlife crisis. But after uni, where I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I don't know what I give to the world. And I was probably at the lowest. I was at the lowest I've ever been. Just lost in the world, lost in who I was. So I started, well, firstly, I didn't draw, I think for 4 months, or could possibly have been
Wow.
6 months. I didn't want to draw, which is shocking to me. Like I can't
Yeah.
believe I ever felt that way, but didn't draw at all until my sister said to me, just like, because I began sketching again, and she said, just post them on Instagram. Like it's kind of quite nice to have a visual sketchbook. And I'd set up an Instagram account through uni. You had to do it. It was one of the courses. So I was like, oh, it's fine. I'll just keep posting on there. I'll like pick up where I left off. So started posting little drawings on there. And then kind of the rest is history. So this would have been 2019, just before COVID happened.
Before everything that happened. Yeah.
Before the world shut down. So I was posting away. Then we went skiing in February. I broke my leg, which is very typical of me.
Crikey.
So, broke my leg, couldn't go anywhere. So carried on posting on Instagram. And then it did just slowly, because I couldn't really get a job because of COVID. I just carried on posting on Instagram, and it was kind of my outlet there as well for what was happening in the world. And yeah, the rest is really kind of history. And I was just very lucky that pretty quickly I could monetize I did bespoke pieces for people. So I could turn it into a job. And alongside this, I had other jobs to keep me going. It's not like I was fully stable. I feel like there's this myth sometimes that people just start a business and they have no money worries. And that definitely wasn't the case. But had little jobs on the side, and then I've just been lucky that it's just kept growing, and we're here now, and I actually can't believe it.
Was there a kind of a point or a drawing that you released and the response, you were just like, wow, this is incredible?
Probably the first time, yeah, the first time we were all like, what is going on, was the Queen and Paddington. So that started it, and I had a coronation Jubilee collection. What am I talking about? Jubilee collection. And that kind of made me realize, I guess more made me realize that I people liked what I did. And then after that, possibly the Queen's passing too, and knowing that my drawings gave people a lot of comfort, I think that gave me my purpose, and I felt like I realized my drawings were more than just drawings for people. So yeah, kind of those moments.
And you said you started off doing the kind of personalized bespoke
Yeah.
drawings for people. I know you do still offer that now as well, don't you?
Yes. Yeah, I do. We've had to close my books now because of exciting projects happening. But I adore doing bespoke pieces, because again, helping people. I've actually never shared this before, but I don't actually remember maybe 4 or 5 years of my life, because with diabetes, basically you're shutting down when you're not giving yourself insulin. So I have very limited memories from that time. So for me, treasuring people's memories and being able to do that for someone else means so much to me. So that's kind of why I love doing the treasuring memories things, because I now know how precious. I would do anything to go back now and be able to remember those times, because it was the last years with my grandparents and things, and I don't really remember any of that. But yeah, I don't know if that's making any sense.
No, completely. So you're able to put people's kind of memories into a format that is super
Yeah.
special for them.
Yeah, and it's kind of through near being so unwell too. I almost feel lucky I've been through it, because I think I learned quite young what really matters in life, and it is just like the times with our loved ones, like that is, and our friends, and that's what life is all about. Like the nice things obviously make life nicer, like material things, but being with family and friends is really everything. So
And
being able to, yeah,
there's a
help
lot
people.
of that as the theme on the other drawings the other illustrations. I'm looking at your account on my screen now. A lot of them are very much, obviously they're very heartwarming, but there is that togetherness, there's that connection, there's that deeper meaning. Just seen the
I
one you
think that
posted of Snape and Dumbledore. I'm a big Harry Potter fan. But they do a lot of your, well, I think all of the drawings that that I've seen of yours, they make me think something.
if
Um,
I can as well ever, because of how lost I felt for such a long time, if I can give someone hope or make them feel not alone, I've done that is more than I could ever ask for with my work. So yeah, that's kind of my purpose. Is I didn't realize, I used to be like, oh, I just love drawing. That's what is the best part about my job. But I've realized recently that helping people truly is my passion, and that's what I want to do. And being able to help someone who feels lonely feel less alone is kind of the greatest gift from it.
and I mean, through your journey so far, you've picked up some pretty big celebrity fans as well, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah.
How
I
has
find
that
it so great.
how has that been? I mean, how does that I know obviously you've got a really significant social media following. So you are very visible to people, but is it quite strange when you kind of think, "Oh my God, they've noticed me."
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I truly forget that anyone follows me, or it just feels like, and I'm so lucky because it is such a safe space for me, and I've never I have a life coach. Sounds a bit woo, but I have a life coach who just helps me figure out life basically. And he recently said to me, "You seem very at peace and things." And he said, "Do you feel like you're coming home?" And that's what my community on Instagram feels like to me. It's home, and it's a safe space for me to be able to say when I'm feeling down or things like that. So I do forget that people, I think I forget how big my reach is now. But I guess more, I don't, I get moments where I'm like, wow, I can't believe they know who I am. But equally, I think it sound, oh gosh, I don't even know what I'm really saying, but you just realize that everyone's just people, like we're all just people on this earth in the middle of the universe. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that, but I've just met so many amazing people, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with it. I don't think I really know even what I think about it.
And what have been some kind of highs along your journey so far? Maybe people that you've met or things that you've drawn or the response that you've had?
Oh gosh. I even find it weird looking back on everything we've done recently, but the piece for Vernon and Children in Need was,
Yes, there it is. I'm literally scrolling down now because I
yeah,
was thinking you might say that.
that was just so cool to be able to give him something that he can treasure, of something like what he did was literally superhuman. Can't even fathom it. So that
Yeah.
was so cool, just to be able to give something for him to treasure. That was really amazing. And then um I did some drawings of Harry Styles just for people again to be able to treasure going to see him and things. And I got to give them to his mum, and that was just so
Oh,
cool, because I just thought, I'm just little Lucy, but I'm being out, like, I can give someone something that they can hold on to forever, of such a happy time. That is just so cool to me. I just think it's so cool.
and Mrs. Hinch, I remember that one fairly
Yes, that
recently. Yes, it was
I
quite recently.
that was again just so cool, because everyone's I think everyone as well, through the pandemic and things, realized that family is everything. And that's a lot of what my drawing's based around. So being able to give people a treasured moment is the coolest thing in the world.
And is that where you get your inspiration from? Because obviously looking through your account and having followed you, you do create very timely pieces. I saw a piece, a drawing you'd done with Kate Garraway and her husband. And they're very timely, very of the moment. They're what people are thinking about and people are feeling. How, I mean, is that, first of all, do you get your inspiration from like the news or from what you're following? And then how do you kind of translate that into something that people can connect with?
So I get it. It's funny, people often ask me if I have like not Google alerts, like news alerts on my phone, like when things are happening. No, I don't. I get it all through social media. And sometimes it'll be people sending stuff to me, and they'll be like, can you create an illustration of this to help them process it, or something like that. But I guess it really is a visual diary for me, my account. So I'm just sketching how it makes me feel. And the wild thing about being human is that a lot of us do have the same emotions about the same things, and we don't realize it. We don't realize, for example, with all of the Friends pieces,
Yes.
the kind of heartbreak the world felt was so, like, everyone just felt heartbroken. Everyone felt like they'd lost a friend.
Yeah. And the
I think
shock.
a lot of people, yeah, in complete shock. And I think a lot of people felt almost embarrassed at how much grief we felt from it. But I don't know really where I'm going with that. I basically draw what I'm feeling, and it turns out that a lot of us feel the same, which
I
is very
think
comforting, I think.
I think it is a strange one because obviously, that many people probably haven't met Matthew Perry or hadn't met him,
Yeah,
but he'd been such a part of so many of our lives who were kind of
such a
watching Friends for
part.
years and years and years. Um, like Mrs. Hinch, not that many people have met Mrs. Hinch, but we
Yeah,
follow her on social media. We see the journey with Ronnie and the alpacas and everything, and you feel a connection, don't
yeah.
you? Um, and with Vernon Kay, running the marathon, I've never met Vernon, but crikey,
Don't
I could
know.
see what was going into it to
So
do
many
something that
people
important.
inspired by it. So many people. And yeah, I think maybe sometimes I'm just an outlet for people's feelings when they don't know how to say it.
Hmm.
Um, my drawings sometimes can,
No,
which,
I love that.
yeah.
So obviously you did so going back to the business side, you've done the personalized ones, but you
Yeah.
also do release products based on your drawings, don't you?
Yes. So I do prints, and I used to do cards, and we're in the talks with setting that up again. But I'm a perfectionist, so it needs to be perfect before we do that. But yeah, so I do prints, and Christmas is big for me, because if anyone, if my friends were asked, I'm basically Mrs. Claus. I love
Oh,
Christmas. I was watching a Christmas film this morning.
no way. And it's February. That's impressive.
I don't so and then people are like, do you not get sick of it? Because I have to work on it for a huge chunk of the year. But I love it. I love the magic. I love the belief. I love that everyone's happy. I love it all.
So thinking about the kind of journey you've been on so far with your business and the illustration point of view, have you had any sort of lows along that journey?
Oh my gosh, I have lows every day over there. It is a roller coaster. Like, especially being on social media, a lot of the time, I'm going to use the dreaded word, but the algorithm
Mm,
changes constantly. I I couldn't tell you, I can't fathom it, never will be able to. I'm very lucky I've met fellow artists and things along the way, and I've got a group chat with them, and we'll just message being like, "What is happening on Instagram? Like, what's going on?" But if I'm being really honest, I have lows every single day where I'm like, "I'm not good enough," but I think it's normal. And actually, Mrs. Holden, my art teacher, told me way back when that there's like peaks and troughs in creativity. You have a high and then you'll have a low straight after, and then you might go steady for a bit. And it's up and down all the time. But I guess my way of combating it, and I think I'm actually I never realized how lucky I am, but I just love it so much that if I'm having a low, the thing that pulls me out is my art. So I've touched wood. I've never really experienced creative block in the sense I don't know what to draw. The only time I've experienced is maybe I'm so overwhelmed with ideas that I can't draw.
you can't pick out the
Um,
one that's needs to be done.
yeah, but yeah, I would say to anyone if they're in a low at the moment as well, go easy on yourself because it's so fine to have nothing. It's sometimes I have nothing to say and that means I don't really have a drawing to do, but it's fine to go through these moments and it doesn't mean that you will find the spark again, basically. But yeah. And my dad always said too that drawing's like I was saying this to someone earlier actually. Drawing's like a sport. It's you're using muscles and you have to use them every day to like train them up and things. So I kind of take that with me too. Even if I have no ideas, I'll draw like my coffee cup on the table or something. And that'll yeah. Yeah. Gosh, I feel like I'm really rambling today. I'm so
No, you're
sorry.
not. You're fine. No, it's I think particularly with the creative side, it's really important to have these discussions because we
Yeah.
can look from the outside in and kind of go, "Oh my God, they must just have all these ideas all the time, be so
No.
inspired and happy and joyful." And I think Instagram, I think social media does make us think that the world isn't actually how it is. And
No.
it's important, I think, to have these discussions to say to people, no, it's normal. Like,
Yeah. Also, actually, one thing I do want to say for anyone who does look at my account and think, God, she always just like she never has failed drawings. I have hundreds and thousands probably of drawings that I just can't get off the bat and I just can't get the idea on paper. And again, that's fine. And actually, one thing I'm really trying to push this year with myself is that it's okay to give up on a drawing. And I used to have this belief that I can never give up, like I have to get the drawing on paper. And if I don't, I failed. But it's fine to start a sketch and then think, oh, actually, that's not going anywhere. And it's fine I have so many drawings I haven't finished. So that's actually a big thing I really want people to know is that not every piece turns out well.
but I think that's actually a really good sort of life metaphor, really. You know, you can have the really good idea, you can have a really good intention, you can set off down that path, and then
Yeah.
halfway along, you might think, you know what, this is not what I thought at all. This is
Yes.
not what I was going at.
This has been the biggest learning, like, lesson I've had this past year is that it's okay to change your mind. It's okay.
Absolutely.
For some reason, I always think it's a permanent decision. Everything we do is permanent. Even I'm currently in Copenhagen for a month because for so long I thought I had to be in the UK. I was like, surely I can't go abroad. Why was my brain telling me that? But it's okay to like change your mind.
Yeah,
Such a
completely.
big thing.
And I think that, you know, changing your mind is fine. I mean, I've probably done it about 20 times today. But
Yeah.
you change your mind based on the new information you've got. So if you
Yes.
set off down a path and actually as you're doing it, you learn things that makes you think, you know, this isn't what I wanted, this isn't the
Yeah.
one.
Hey, pivot.
Change, pivot.
Pivot.
There's the whole
Yeah,
sunk cost fallacy that I think sometimes we get so into something and we feel we've
yeah,
dedicated so much time, we have to carry on. But
yeah,
all we're doing is putting more bad time into the thing and we
yeah.
haven't learned from
Such
it.
big. I'm so passionate about this because, especially, so I'm 26, so I feel like I'm at a point where a lot of people have been doing a job for a certain amount of years and I've got a close friend who's feeling very lost at the moment. And it's like you can change your job just because you've put in 4 years or something. You can quit, you can start again. It's not, you can start again at 70, you can start again at 80. Like you
And
can just,
the skills are transferable. Even if
yeah,
they
yeah,
were, obviously I don't know your friend, but let's say they were an accountant, even if they go into something non-accounting, the skills they've learned from being in that job, from the organizational side, from the admin side, from
yeah.
managing people, they're all transferable.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
it's so but I think school does that to us too,
yeah,
where everything feels so permanent. It's like you've got to choose your A levels, you've got to choose your GCSEs or other way around. But and
yeah.
like that's the path you have to go on, choose your university. And it's so not be all or end all. Even if you fail at uni,
Doesn't
do
really matter.
it.
People do. And I think as well, there might be a bit of a generational thing there because it did used to be, you know, way back when that people went to school, went to university, did a job. They did that job until they retired, and that was that.
Yeah.
Now, I was reading something not very long ago and I've forgotten all the numbers, but the amount of careers people have in their lives is now a number, whereas it used to be one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Oh, I love that. I just love it. And it's like one of my favorites is I think it's Vera Wang didn't design her first wedding dress till she was like 50 something, or it might be even
awesome.
older than that. And I just look at that and I'm like, what a legend. Like
Too right.
amazing. Yeah. So you can always change your mind. And just because actually I haven't done a drawing of it yet, but something I've been telling myself a lot recently is just because something ends doesn't mean it's failed.
No,
So
it's the
yeah.
learning. Take learning from everything.
Yeah, yeah, and just absorb and
Even if
yeah.
it's not what not to do next time.
Yeah.
That's learning. And sometimes
And
they
it's
can be the
kind of the
biggest
best
ones.
part about life is that we are always learning. We're always making mistakes, but just because you make a mistake doesn't mean you're stupid. So
No.
many, yeah.
And there is a whole thing about if you're not making mistakes, you're not trying.
Yes, yes. There's gosh, tell me to stop talking as well, by the way, if I'm just rambling. But my best friend, she's a teacher, and their school motto is do it scared. And I think that should
I
be
love
everyone's
that.
motto.
Yeah.
And I used to say to my friend way back when, but I'd be like, if you're not scared, you're not growing. And I mean that not, I mean, you shouldn't be terrified. You should never like
No, it's like the stretch zone, isn't it? The kind of,
yeah.
oh,
You
yeah.
you should never, if you're feeling if you're comfortable, you should probably be adding something else into the mix to kind of just keep you growing and yeah, yeah. I mean, unless you're happy.
But
But you
even
know,
then, it's good to still, do work on that happiness and on that
yeah.
contentedness. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think, yeah, complacency isn't the one. We can be happy and like we shouldn't be going right next, but it's
No, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. It's like
yeah.
I'm not saying like push yourself to the limit, but I think it's okay. Basically, I'm saying it's okay to be scared. I'm scared a lot of the time. The first time I did a podcast, I thought I was going to pass out.
Oh, bless you. Well, I mean, you haven't even looked vaguely faint on this one, so that's really good.
Still standing.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, that's awesome. So thinking about your journey and other people who maybe are thinking of starting a small business, starting a side hustle, maybe even embracing their creativity a bit more. Have you got any advice for them?
It's gonna be like everyone's just gonna be like, oh, everyone says that. Just do it. Just start posting. Also, something I'm really trying to embrace this year. We're all bad at things when we start. Like when we're babies, we can't walk. And like look at us
Hmm.
all now marching around. We're doing great. So like
Yep, yep.
it's so okay to be bad at something. Everything you try, this is kind of counteractive to that question, but if you start knitting, you don't have to start selling garments and things. It's okay to have a hobby just for fun and to be bad at it and to figure out what you like. It's okay to start a project. I'm the queen of starting things and not finishing them. It's okay to do that and just keep testing until you find what you really love. And yeah, probably just do it scared. If you're thinking, I want to start a business, if you've been thinking about it for a long time, I think just take that first step. And sometimes it is just a single step and it's the hardest step to take, but that's the one that'll get you on your way. So, yeah.
Yeah. And would you say that obviously, your business, I'm not saying it's because of social media, but definitely social media was a catalyst, I would
Yes.
say. Do you think that in the world we live in today, it is easier to try these things, to put an idea out there than it ever has been? That's such a leading
Yeah.
question because it's evident I think that. But obviously from your point of view, you just
No,
started documenting, didn't you? What you were
I
doing, your
really,
drawings.
yeah, I really think if you're, the world is so big, there's room for everyone, firstly. I hate when people are like, it's oversaturated, because there's no one in this world that's you. There's only one of you, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But I think as long as you're being authentically you and putting your message out into the world and what you want to give to the world, I've gone on a ramble, but I'm basically saying yes.
Yes. No.
It means we just have the opportunity to do it. We can, most people have a phone, so you can just start giving the world a bit more of you and then go from there.
Yeah. Yes, I think it's really good that we have got the opportunity to share things without having to, massively commit, to
Yeah,
experiment, to get like instant feedback as well, to
yeah,
see what's
and it's
going on in the
free.
world. And it's free.
Most at the moment, Instagram is still, I mean, I know you can pay for the subscription and things, but it's free. It's free to put your ideas out there. And equally, if you don't get, I think people look at my journey sometimes and think it was like just flew up straight off the bat, but I've just been plodding along, doing what I love, and it's now reached such a cool point that I never, but I just don't want people to ever feel disheartened because maybe it's not firing off all cylinders straight away, which is what we see all the time on TikTok and on Reels and things, is people's success stories. But there's a lot of a battle that we don't see throughout that.
Mhm.
Some people are successful straight away, but that's their journey. It's not yours.
And it's
So,
rare. That is
yeah,
really rare.
yeah, definitely.
And even in those instances, you realize that person's been like, with you, for example, you've been drawing since you were a tiny
Yeah.
child.
Yeah, just people have been working behind the scenes. It's
Yeah.
just we just see everyone's highlight reels and we don't see the full story. So, and like people would have no idea. I've only recently got confident enough to kind of tell my story with my vision and things, because I don't know why I thought people would judge me. But you would just have no idea just from looking at my account that had happened, or my why behind this. Yeah. Am I making sense?
Well, I think there's so much we don't see. You know,
Yeah.
Instagram, any social media is that one snapshot that we decide to share. You decide to share a drawing that means something to you at that moment. That doesn't mean you haven't got a whole other backstory that goes on about you and
Yeah.
who you are. But
Yeah.
we don't see that. We see the really cool thing that we love and we understand and we relate to.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, if you're thinking about posting, just post. Just do it. And
Just
once you've
do
done it
it.
once, it gets so much easier.
Yeah. And another thing you mentioned earlier is that people, you've got a really significant Instagram account, particularly. People can think, oh God, well, I've only got a few hundred people. But the point is you can actually have a really good business with not a huge account.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And like 100 people as well. Even 100 people is a lot of people. 10 people is a lot of people. And if they're really just like really engaged with the people who are engaging with you and nurture that community, and it will just blossom, and you don't have to, no, you can have a great business with, my sister's got a much smaller following, but she's doing great. Yeah, don't think you have to have like hundreds of thousands of followers to have a successful business. That's definitely not true. But yeah, and I would say just really engage with the people who engage with you, because they are the roots of your business. And I have people who have been supporting me from day one, and I joke a lot, but I've kind of been adopted, I feel, by my little community I've got. I
I
feel
love
like they've
that.
just taken me under their wing and they accept me for who I am. And I I just love them all so much. Yeah, my community are everything to me.
And I get that's something that can get lost a bit sometimes in the numbers, that the people that do a really good job on social, in my opinion, are the ones that do nurture that community, that it's not,
Yeah,
it is like we're all in this together, muddling through, trying to battle our way through things. And
yeah,
this is
battle
my
through
take.
life.
Mm.
Yeah,
And putting that time in to engage with your audience, putting that time in to help nurture and grow, it is really important to have a work kind of, not a worthwhile community, but a community, the actual correct term for the word community.
yeah, yeah, and it's fulfilling for the heart too. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
that's what I really find from it. And you don't know, say you get one like on a drawing you've done, you don't know the impact that that drawing's had on that one like. That person might have seen it and just thought, oh my gosh, do you know what? I'm not alone. Like, I've got this. It's just a bad day. So yeah, we none of us know the impact we have on the world. And I think that's a very beautiful thing, actually. Each day, we never know whose lives we've changed.
No.
So yeah.
And even those people that don't like, that see it, smile, nod, I'm a devil for that. I'll look
Oh,
at
yeah.
things, and there's no sign of active engagement there, but it's actually stuck in my brain and I've remembered it
Yeah.
and I've thought about it. And probably more than some things I have quickly liked as I've gone past.
Yeah. No, it's so true. It's so true. Yeah. Just try not to be disheartened by that side of things.
Definitely. So what's to come from you, or what you're allowed to tell us that we might be able to see? Because
Oh yeah, God.
I
I've
feel
been
like
working
you're
on some
in the middle
books.
of lots of things at the moment.
Yeah, there's lots of exciting things to come, but basically, we're just gonna keep, I don't know, hopefully you'll all be seeing a lot more of me in just kind of around. I'm working on big projects with people. I really don't know what I'm allowed to say, but I am allowed to say I'm doing a book. So I can say that.
Amazing.
And hopefully it can be a little something that people can have to take them through the day, keep them going when it's tougher. So yeah.
And we'll be able to find out everything that you're up to. You'll keep everybody fully
Oh,
informed.
yeah, follow me on Instagram.
Instagram is the place.
Can't help but overshare. Honestly, everyone's been saying to me, Lucy, stop talking, because
Oh no, I
I
love
love
it.
telling people everything. But yeah, just a lot more drawing, and hopefully I'll keep getting better. That's the goal, keep getting better. But yeah, exciting things to come, and I'm just so grateful for everything.
Is there anything else you would like to share with us today before I ask you to just remind us everywhere we can find you online?
The main thing, it's gonna sound cheesy, but I'm the cheesiest person in the world, but probably that there's always hope. Coming from someone who didn't think that at one point, there's always hope, and there's always hope for a brighter tomorrow. So if if that message gets to anyone who needs it today, then done my job.
Definitely. If Vernon Kay can run all those marathons, and if you can be giving
Yes.
things to Harry Styles' mum, there's hope.
Oh yeah, and if you're thinking of posting something, post it.
There we go, just
Start
crack
your
on.
business.
Love it. Can you tell us all the places where we can find you online?
Yes, so you can follow me on Instagram. That's at Lucy Claire Illustration. I'm tentatively saying I'm on TikTok, but don't. I'm Lucy Claire Illustration there as well. And then my website is www.lucyclaireillustration.com.
There's a theme. I like the theme.
Just search my name.
Such a name. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been brilliant to chat to you. And I can't wait to see what you're going to be up to this year and beyond.
Thank you for listening to me. I hope I didn't ramble too much.
No, you were awesome.
Thank you for having me.